Gamboa was a powerful featherweight. Good to watch, athletic, fast. But, he's drifted into this lightweight phase of his career. And it hasn't done him much favours. He's won more than what he's lost. But without his legs underneath him to whip his hooks in, can't jump in with shots or anything like that. Speed isn't there. He's just a sitting target. And Isaac Cruz just whacked him all about the place and the referee stopped it in the 5th. Mercifully. No upper body movement from Gamboa. Him and Cruz are about the same height, but Cruz was fighting out of a crouch, fighting low, setting a torrid pace. Gamboa was just standing upright, taking a beating, and it wasn't nice to watch, but somebody's got to take the beating in there. And that was Gamboa. People are calling for him to retire. Thing is, them people ain't paying his bills. Do you think this guy reached financial security in his career? I say it was sad to watch because I used to be a fan. Unfortunately, for a lot of boxers, this is a necessary phase in their career. Isaac Cruz, he'll be looking for a big fight next. I think he gives most lightweights a problem. I don't think Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy are going to take the fight. I don't think so. Because he looks too robust for Ryan. I think he can slip under a lot of Ryan's shots. I don't think Ryan's going to catch him flush that easily. If he does catch him flush, it will be interesting. But, Ryan's got to be coming forward to be whipping them hooks in. If my guy's got him on the back foot, it's a difficult night for Ryan. Very difficult. People think I'm a Tank Davis hater. No, I study Tank as a fighter. I know how technically gifted he is. Yeah? I just don't like the opponents that Floyd has picked for him. But what was unappreciated and will appreciate as this guy develops a reputation, Cruz, is the circles, the short circles that he boxed and kept turning Cruz. I don't think Ryan can do that. I don't think he can. I think Ryan's a little basic on the footwork and stuff like that. And if you don't have the footwork, you're going to struggle against this guy. Because if you don't have the footwork and you can't clinch him, Gamboa tried to clinch him and he couldn't clinch him. He was just too strong. Let's see if Ryan takes the fight. I don't think it's a good fight for him. I'm saying that now. I wonder if Ryan still wants it. Remember Ryan said he's not going to call nobody out. And then within hours, he called out Isaac Cruz. But that was before he saw this performance here. Now, Cruz rolled over a washed-up Gamboa, but he's still a formidably strong, bullish lightweight. And he has power. The right-hand finish was a beauty. I love that finish, man. The referee stopped it too early. You should have let Gamboa take the full consequence of fighting on when he's not properly trained and prepped. He has to feel the full extent of what he's doing, and then he'll either take it seriously or get out, because he's an aging fighter who doesn't really have anything to offer the game except be a punching bag and a stepping stone. I reckon Eddie's going to get Gamboa next for Maxie Hughes or someone. I wonder if Maxie can get him out of there. So, Carl Froch, very outspoken, virtually no filter, but he has perspective, and it's his perspective. I remember when everybody shouted him down when he said he doesn't rate Muhammad Ali. He's not his style of fighter. And people got mad. But it was just his opinion. Just his opinion. People talk about modern day fanboys, but some of the fanboyism for the old fighters is ridiculous. Like, if you don't like someone's style... Look, when people talk about Mike Tyson didn't fight anybody, I always tear them up. Because it's factually incorrect. What he's saying about Muhammad Ali is an opinion. What he's saying about Amir Khan is his opinion based on facts. He's basically saying Khan is only good for getting knocked out. He doesn't want to see the Benn Khan fight. He wants to see Benn and Brook. Tony Belly's reply was priceless. You can't say that about people. But, Froch has got this kind of, this detachment from having any decorum on expressing himself. And I think it's needed. I think it's needed. It's needed to the format. And you need Bellew too. You need somebody who isn't going to do that, because if you have too many people doing that, then it spoils it. You can only really have one rebel. Let's call him a rebel on the broadcast, because it's going out to a wide audience and not everybody likes loudmouth, brash talk. You know what I mean? Like, some people just want it straight-laced, a little more straight-laced. The odd obscenity here and there, and the odd outspoken opinion, they'll tolerate that. But if you've got everybody in there, like Carl Froch, then it would spoil it. But that balance there, it works. It works, you know. Yeah, Bellew is a company man, but he's a good company man. Froch infuriates people at times, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Nice balance there. The reason why Tyson Fury was reluctant to fight in the UK and said the UK treated him badly, it was the press. It wasn't the public, it was the press. Because the press will still probe about the PED case and the connections with Daniel Kinahan. Like this week, they're still asking, how are you having 94,000 people turn up at Wembley and nobody, Tyson Fury, no representation, have updated their status with Daniel Kinahan? I mean, it's a serious issue. Daniel Kinahan is alleged to be in some serious shit. How did 96 press members have access to that Zoom call and nobody called Tyson Fury on his status with Daniel Kinahan? They're saying Ring TV asked Fury about his relationship with Daniel Kinahan. They must have edited that out of the press call. Wasn't it live? And Tyson Fury said, it's none of my business and I don't get involved in other people's business. That's not going to be satisfactory for the press. They're going to keep hounding him days leading into the fight. My guess is he should stay away from social media and let's start talking about the fight. Michael Conlan is off the MTK roster. His image is still on there in some pictures, but if you go to look at their roster of boxers, he's gone. He's gone. He requested that, and he got his request. Paddy Barnes, he's disassociating himself with the company, although he has retired. He is retired from boxing. I don't know if there'll be any more to follow. We'll see. I don't know if the AT&T Stadium was full by this stage, but they were very subdued. And Stanionis and Butaev were putting on a great exhibition of boxing and brawling. A very good fight that went under the radar. Like, they went head to head, banged away. Butaev, he's crazy, man. Like, he'll just drop his hands and dare you to throw, and then he'll come back with his shit. Doesn't care if he gets tagged. Stanionis, he didn't move his head much more, but he used his legs a lot more and threw a very good jab. Don't sleep on Stanionis' left hook. It's a good weapon. I like when he doubled it up in the fifth, right? The reason it wasn't as effective as it could be is because Butaev is very rugged, very robust, very tough, takes a good shot. We're talking about a close fight here, and Stanionis' variety and hand speed probably edging it, but Butaev has very heavy hands. His body shots are no joke. Too many fights like this, though, it would just drain the life out of fighters, you know what I mean? Very grueling battle. You know, in one of the middle rounds, they stared at each other at the end of the round like to say, hey, I ain't going nowhere, where you going? These guys are proper tough guys, proper tough guys. Butaev is an orthodox fighter. He switched to southpaw during this fight. And it was weird because, okay, you're in a southpaw stance, but he was throwing his left hand like he was jabbing. Some people shouldn't switch like that. They shouldn't. You know, it's almost like Butaev likes eating the jab. He actually likes it. Like, his facial expression doesn't change when he gets hit. He doesn't adjust his feet or his head or anything. He just keeps eating them and eating them. The more Butaev was losing the tactical battle, the dirtier his tactics got. He pushed his head right in there at times. The referee didn't really do much in the way of reprimanding. He was hitting on the break. Very rough and ready character. You see, Conor Benn hasn't been in with someone like that. Conor will have no problem hitting the guy. But if he can't hurt him, he's going to have to deal with all them rough tactics, and it'll be a totally new experience of boxing for him and the likes of Boots and Virgil Ortiz. Like, nobody knows these guys. Butaev and Stanionis. No one knows them, but they can fight. Butaev, WBA interim champion from Russia. Stanionis, he's from Lithuania. These are Eastern Bloc fighters. Stanionis, 15-0, 9 knockouts. Butaev, 14-1, 11 knockouts. Approaching round 9, it became a bad-tempered affair, you know, like Butaev makes it a very physical, attrition-type fight. And Stanionis had to stay with him all the way and keep throwing. And they were staring at each other at the end of the round. It was a bad-tempered affair. The referee came to Boutiet's corner during the interval. Don't push the head. I don't want to take a point, but don't push the head. because, you know, he's tiring as well and he's losing his shape. So it's just very crude, raw, rough tactics he's using now. Stanionis bleeding from the nose, busted up round the eye. I don't know how Butaev ain't bleeding. He's took so many shots. But, like, the little shots he does land, they're not as flashy, but you can see the pace, the weight of the shots are affecting Stanionis, but he's throwing the better combinations, more eye-catching. The judges don't have to work too hard to see the quality. Butaev is like a caveman, though. He's, like, very muscular, must have very thick skin to not have cut so far. Butaev's body attack has probably gone underappreciated, but the quality was emphasized in the 10th. Like that right uppercut Stanionis landed, and them jabs that were just stopping Butaev in his tracks. Butaev was reduced now just to these wide arm shots. It's still a tough fight because he's not backing off. This needed a more rapturous crowd, this fight. Like, the 11th was sick. Like, the pressure was now getting to Stanionis, and the rough tactics were getting to him. And Butaev looked like he was taking over when the referee took a point for the pushing. And that seemed to affect Butaev because Stanionis came back with 2 big shots near the end of the round that rocked Butaev. Great round. 12th, another great round. Lithuania have their first world champion, I believe. Richard Schaefer. He manages Stanionis. He's a pro-Benn fighter. You can see the concern on Schaefer's face that this fight could turn around with one punch and either man could go. It was that type of fight. Stanionis was out on his feet in the last round, but he was still throwing the better quality shots. God knows how. Butaev, I don't know how much these fights are going to be taken out of him. He took a lot of shots against Jamal James as well. I was reminded by the commentary team, and yeah, he did. I tell you what, man, Stanionis and Errol Spence, I think that's going to be next. I don't think it's going to be Crawford. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. He's not ready for Spence, though. Spence will beat him, but it's still a good fight. The PBC seemed to have struck a deal with the WBA that they're going to have this tournament. The winner of Spence and the Cuban versus the winner of Stanionis and Butaev. I don't think they're going to deviate from that. I think that's the next fight. I know a lot of people are saying, but Beats, Errol has committed to fighting Crawford now. I know he's saying that, but I waited so long that I have to hear that contracts are getting drafted and fights are getting signed to have any real belief that it's going to actually happen. If he is serious, that's good. That's good, but I'm not just going to blindly believe what Errol Spence is saying. No. He said here in a tweet, replying to Oscar De La Hoya, who said, imagine if Al Heyman let at Errol Spence fight at Virgil Ortiz and I stage it at Dallas Cowboy Stadium or Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Spence replied, imagine if I said no, I only have interest in one fight and he's not with you. Well, like I say, we can hope that that one fight he's talking about is Terence Crawford, but it could be Stanionis. Errol Spence is a success story. Him and Crawford is a super fight. And he's got all the scraps. Crawford must consider this in negotiation. I like Errol Spence. I want to support his career, but not at the expense of ducking. I don't support ducking from no fighter. So anyone thinks this is Spence hatred or it's Golovkin hatred, I hate ducking. I fucking hate, especially at championship level. I'm skeptic because I don't believe Richard Schaefer is ringside, yeah? And his fighters just won this grueling battle, and then next he wants him to take on some regular mandatory or voluntary for average money. He wants Spence. Richard Schaefer wants Stanionis and Spence. Trust me, he doesn't want to see Crawford and Spence. What the fuck for? He doesn't manage Crawford. There's other people looking for the Spence fight. Oscar De La Hoya wants the Spence fight. He wanted to sign Spence years back. So I'm not going to jump on like you guys are jumping on. Maybe you've got more optimism than me. I'm a little skeptic. I'm a little older than some of you. So when you see me skeptic like that, you haven't reached as much bars as I have yet. So you got to cut the old man some slack. I'm skeptical because I research what's going on. Richard Schaefer at ringside is looking out for his own interests. What the boxing fans want comes second. Remember, it was him who told us we, as boxing fans, wanted to see Mikey Garcia versus Spence rather than Errol Spence versus Crawford. Remember that. That's a man with an agenda and his own self-interest at heart. Simple. There's nothing to stop him coming out and say, this will be a more exciting fight. Look at that fight there. That's more exciting than all of Crawford's fights. Or some dumb shit like that. And set the sales pitch. And Errol Spence's fans, If someone like Schaefer sets the agenda, remember, Al Heyman don't talk. So if Schaefer sets the agenda and Errol Spence follows the party political line that Richard Schaefer is setting, the fans are going to agree with it. And then next thing, they're going to be saying, Spence did all he could to make the fight. Crawford is going to have to wait. Amnesia sets in, not remembering. They were saying, yeah, you see, Spence wants to fight. Just a little while back, they were saying this. So, excuse me, you can say anything fresh after this fight has just finished. But the facts are, Spence, his fan base and the Spence friendly media and the PBC are comfortable with doing damage control for why he's not taking that fight. So not taking it next fight will not be an issue for them. As long as they've all got their narrative and they're all singing the same chorus, they don't give a shit. Skip right past the facts and come up with their own fairy tale narratives. So the WBO had to deal with a 3-man petition. Jack Catterall, Teofimo Lopez, and Jose Ramirez. So they all petitioned to the WBO for that number 2 position in their rankings. And they gave it to Jose Ramirez, I guess on the basis that he just beat Jose Pedraza. Teofimo is coming off the loss to Cambosos. He's never fought at 140. And Jack Catterall, he had the very controversial fight against Josh Taylor. And I think people are arguing that they should have had some empathy for Jack and what happened in Glasgow with the dodgy scorecards, but Ramirez has got the spot. I guess some people are going to be outraged, but I don't see too much wrong with the decision. The WBC actually put Jose above them too, so he's number 2 in both sanctioning bodies. The only argument, I guess, you could argue WBC bias, Jose being Mexican, you could argue that, I guess, but listen, as long as all 3 of them take some good fights in the upcoming year at 140, then they'll all get in contention for shots. It's a contentious issue for all parties because Josh Taylor has all 4 straps. If they bump someone up ahead of you, that just means you have to wait longer, isn't it, to get into that mandatory spot. Alycia Baumgardner, I mean, come on, you were never going to knock someone out with a name like Matisse. They're hard to knock out, them Argentinians. You know what I mean? Tough. It gave us a chance to see more of what Alycia can do. She's not just a puncher. She can box very well. Very dexterous with her angles. Glides around the ring. I think she won all 10 completed rounds from what I saw. From what I heard, Matisse was a very durable girl, very aggressive. But she was no smoke for Alycia. They don't all go over. That was on the Conor Benn bill. Another fight on the same bill was Chris Billiam Smith, or as I like to call him, Chris Billinger Spliff. Gotta grow up in that. I gotta grow up. I know. It looked like Tommy McCarthy, Chris Billiam Smith's opponent, tried to make more use of the ring and wanted Chris to lead more this time. And Chris obliged him, and it was a very good fight. McCarthy landed his fair share of the shots, but Billiam Smith, bigger, stronger guy, he was determined to get there first this time around, no hesitation. I thought he actually lost the first fight, which was nearly a year back. I wasn't actually sure what his punch resistance was like, because he looked a little shaky in the first fight, but he handled McCarthy's punches no issue at all this time round. It was a right hand that put McCarthy on the canvas. And he was out for the night. Good performance by Billiam Smith. Very good performance. The first man to win an Olympic medal for Ireland in boxing, John McNally, has passed away, age 89. R.I.P. There he is there, with Michael Conlan, Paddy Barnes, and Hugh Russell. I don't remember that name, Hugh Russell. And there he is there on the far right, R.I.P. Deviating just for a minute away from boxing, R.I.P. to K. Slay, hip-hop DJ from Harlem, New York, did his thing. The Drama King, represented hip-hop very well, R.I.P. Also on the bill was Jordan Thompson, huge puncher, 6'6". Found out that his dad was a 5-time karate champion, and it looks like the genetics are strong there because, you know, he's about the same size as Jordan. Big man. Jordan scored 3 KOs on the bounce since he's been with Matchroom. And it's going to be hard to match him, isn't it? Because people are going to want to see his step-up opponents, but for the money they're getting in there to face someone like Jordan, the risk-reward is something they're going to be looking at before they just jump in the ring with Jordan. But that was a great right uppercut. This guy, he fought, the Argentinian, took Lawrence Okolie 7 rounds. He got him out of there in 2. The referee maybe have stopped it prematurely, but he was never going to win the fight. 3 Argentinian opponents for the Matchroom fighters: Jordan Thompson, Alycia Baumgardner, and Matthew Hatton. Well, I work cheap out there, Eddie. It is what it is. They're very tough, very durable, very capable fighters out there. Campbell Hatton fought an Argentinian named Ezequiel Gregores. This went the 6-round limit. And Campbell is getting more confident in terms of letting his punches go. That's not a problem. He's trained with wild abandon, having a great time in there. But a lot of people are just counting down the time until he gets caught with a counter left hook or a right hand over the top and gets knocked smooth out, because he's just rumbling in there very recklessly. And the gaps are alarming at times, but the fight was very entertaining. I'll say that. He goes to 6-0, son of Ricky Hatton. Apparently he's selling a lot of tickets, and it looks like he's doing what Ricky was doing, and he's fighting to try and please the fans. And I don't think they're going to be able to curb that out of him, and they need to calm him down a little, obviously, and let him just stick to the fundamentals. I mean, all he does is box. He doesn't have no other job. They need to get him to appreciate and respect the fundamentals. You know, a lot of the guys he's fighting are probably moonlighting, doing other jobs, and they're not getting the amount of time they have to work on their craft as Campbell. He needs to get the fundamentals down, or that knockout victory is on its way. I don't want to upset the apple cart or the bandwagon. I know a lot of people love it. He's selling tickets, but the truth has to be spoken. You're not going to turn Campbell into Willie Pep overnight, but just some basic stuff. If you're going to rush in and throw your shots, try and duck before the counter comes back. You know what I mean? Get him to use his feet more and move around the ring more. Make his opponent miss and then counter. We want to see more blocking and parrying and shit like that. Everybody likes a good scrap, no doubt, but you know, we want to see some technique there, some defense. We know what the crowd want to see when they're watching a Hatton. But defense is not a dirty word. That's not cheapen defense. It's not a dirty word that means, you know what I mean, you ain't got no heart, or you know, you're not up for a scrap. Let's see some defense. Okay, so it's fight week. You know what fight I'm talking about. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte for the WBC heavyweight title. All British showdown in Wembley, 94,000. Going, gone, sold. I don't know what it is. It hasn't really caught fire over here in the press or the media. I tell you what, you cannot underestimate how important Sky is at building these fights in the United Kingdom. You can't underestimate it. Frank Warren was bang on the money when he said that Eddie Hearn will miss Sky's advertising platform. Well, Frank, you're missing it too. You used to be on there. This would be a great time to still be on. Yo, I really do. I'm not going to say I love the Zone because it's going to sound stupid. I really like the DAZN app. $7.99 a month, great value in my opinion. But if I was Anthony Joshua, I'm staying on Sky. I'll stay on Sky. If I was Dillian Whyte, I'd stay on Sky.